Hello, Austin here, and I'm joined by Rollercoaster David. And welcome to a new series where a European roller coaster takes on a North American counterpart in a head-to-head battle. We'll each make an argument as to why the coaster in our continent is better, always making the case for the ride in our region, even if we secretly prefer the other. In this episode, we'll take a look at two inverted roller coasters manufactured by Bolliger and Mabillard. Nemesis, a roller coaster that is literally built inside a hole due to height limitations, at Alton Towers, a historic theme park situated within the small English town of Alton, versus Montu, one of the most talked about coasters on the planet, at Busch Gardens, located in bustling Tampa Bay, USA, near the theme park capital of the world. The locations couldn't be any more different, and the coasters provide two of the most unique experiences on roller coasters found today. You can find either of these attractions on many enthusiasts' top 10 lists. These old-style Bolliger and Mabillard-built rides feature quick transitions, extremely smooth track, and always have well-seasoned coaster fanatics and the general public crowds coming off extremely pleased with the experience. Before we get into the layout of these rides, we'll first take a look at what you guys preferred from our last video, Goliath at Six Flags Over Georgia in the USA or Goliath at Walibi Holland in the Netherlands. After 686 votes in a close race that went back and forth with only a 24 vote difference at the end, Goliath at Walibi Belgium was the preferred choice by viewers, 52% to 48%. Make sure to follow us on Instagram to vote on this video's poll.
Hello, Rollercoaster David here, and let's start out our look at these two awesome inverted coasters with a detailed breakdown of their layouts. Nemesis starts out with a small pre-drop into a left turn that leads into a gentle slope before you're suddenly thrown into a corkscrew that leads into a tight right-handed 270-degree downward helix where the ride reaches its top speed. You're then sent flying over the station in a fast 0G roll before pulling up into a stall turn to the right, then diving back down into a straight-up vertical loop. You experience some strong positive Gs in this loop before you exit through a small tunnel and then pull upwards and to the left into another stall turn. You then dive under a bridge and are snapped into the ride's final corkscrew inversion, through another tunnel and into the final tight right-handed turn before you can catch your breath on the brake run.
Montu starts off with a common B&M inverted pre-drop and swings to the left. You pull up into a large loop before heading into the first of many tunnels and trenches. Up into an Immelman with a near miss at the entrance archway, you swoop down and back up into a 0G roll. Through a set of trim brakes, you're into one of the most talked about elements on any invert from around the world, the Batwing, into a trench and back up, exiting the same side that you entered. A turn up into the mid-course brake run gives you a second to breathe. Down to the right, into a trench, and through a tight loop. After the loop, you then swoop to the right before getting a slight feeling of weightlessness as you turn back towards the center of the layout. Down towards the ground, a quick turn to the left to avoid the queue line, and down and back up into the final inversion. A wing-over corkscrew element before turning one final time, up to the right, and into the last brake run.
Montu is undeniably an impressive ride, and on paper, it should beat Nemesis hands down. It's taller, faster, longer, and has more inversions, but still, I think Nemesis is the better ride. Montu's a great coaster, don't get me wrong, but Nemesis is just so unique and has so much character that it's almost difficult to compare the two. Montu could have been built at any park around the world, but in contrast, thanks to the construction limitations it had to overcome, Nemesis could only have ever been built at Alton Towers, as no park would even consider spending all the money on the excavation required to make it happen. As many enthusiasts are aware, due to planning restrictions, every ride at Alton Towers has to be built below the level of the tree line, so in order to fit in a large coaster like Nemesis, the designers had to get creative and basically dig a big hole to put it in. This means that the ride spends a lot of time below ground level, diving through tunnels and ravines in the rock, and as all that scenery flies past you, it makes the ride feel even faster than it actually is. Your senses are simply overloaded by the ride as there's so much variety in the different textures that flash before you. Grass, rock, stone walls, standing water, ivy, trees, waterfalls, foliage. Every twist and turn seems to bring something new, and it all adds to that incredible rush and sense of speed that the ride has. Inverted coasters are at their best when they stay close to the ground, and Montu spends far too much time high up in the air, whereas in Nemesis there's different things constantly rushing past you to give you that speed sensation. One of the things I love most about Nemesis is its first drop sequence, as the pacing of it is unlike any other ride in the world. After you leave the lift hill, it lulls you in slowly with this very gentle slope through the forest, and then suddenly you burst out of the trees and you're flung head over heels into a corkscrew, and then straight into a forceful downward helix, and it's only at that point that the ride reaches its maximum speed. No other coaster exists to my knowledge that has a drop anything like this, and it's just such a good setup to the ride. When you hit that corkscrew, it's like boom, now Nemesis has you in its pit and there's going to be no escape but to experience this amazing ride. It manages to maintain this out of control feeling as it tears around the track, almost like it's trying to escape from the pit, but it's being forced back inside. The rest of the layout is just expertly paced as well, and each twist and turn feels much faster because you're so close to the ground for the whole time. Another great thing about Nemesis is its backstory and theming. The premise is that you have this Nemesis creature pinned down by Rollercoaster track, and there's even several fake bits of track integrated into the scenery to immerse you, and how it blends in with the regular track simply looks great. The ride has this great atmosphere with a foreboding soundtrack and a queue line that takes you deep into the pit, where the screams of riders and the roar of the ride echo all around you, all amplified by the rock work. Nemesis is just far greater than the sum of its parts or its statistics can show. It's a triumph of creativity over planning restrictions. It's a fantastic design, it's fast, aggressive, and it's a pure adrenaline rush from start to finish, a true white-knuckle ride. It's more than just a roller coaster, it's an experience. It's something UK enthusiasts can be rightly proud of, and no inverted coaster in America even comes close to matching its brilliance. Nemesis is now over 25 years old, but in all that time, for me at least, it remains the number one coaster in the UK, and one of the best inverted coasters ever made.
Montu, where to even start with this gem of a coaster? Probably not at that awful weird smell that is always lurking as you leave the station. A coaster type that has proven again and again to be one of the best models out there, Montu is king of the inverts in this battle. Taking the flat floor to land and transforming it into a minefield of trenches and tunnels is one thing that makes this coaster so incredible. You can talk about the heavy terrain use of Nemesis all day. It's one of the best examples of terrain use in the world, but look past that theming and see that Montu offers just as many near misses while on the ride, at a higher speed, and within a longer layout. And that's what's important while riding an invert, a bunch of speed that's heightened by the foot choppers throughout the layout. At a higher speed and thrill and the same whippy transitions, Montu takes classic B&M invert elements and cranks them up a notch. The section before the mid-course brake run is truly one of the best 5 elements ever on a coaster. Quick yanks, fast laterals, whips to the right and to the left. Montu is a monster, a perfect storm of wild maneuvers that truly do everything they intend to do and more. While Nemesis may have its special moments and incredible interaction with pathways and the guests, what's the one major talking point of the ride? It really doesn't have one. It's all a great ride, but it doesn't have that moment that literally takes your breath away. That is Montu's Batwing. The back left seat is one of the wildest moments on any coaster as you feel 3 quick yanks as the train turns around and down into the tight trench of the Batwing. It's shocking each and every time. The second half of Montu again finishes strong with another tight loop, a helix feet from the ground, and that big finish, an insane wing over with another wild moment of G-forces pulling your whole body down. It's a ride that doesn't let up, and it's no wonder why all coaster enthusiasts talk about Montu's big game. Thanks for watching, and make sure to comment below on which roller coaster you like better. Also, make sure to follow us both on Instagram so you can vote on which one is the best, and you can see the results in the next video over on Rollercoaster David's YouTube page.